You are listening to Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, aspiring actors with me. I'm Louise, the founder of Standby Method Acting Studio, and every week I'll be talking with you and sharing how you can become a paid, working, unstoppable actor. Because you can. An acting career is doable. Are you ready? Hey there, Unstoppable Actor. Oh my God, I am super excited to dive into this amazing episode with you, where I'm going to be talking to you about all things getting started with your acting dreams, or what you need to do when you're returning to acting dreams if you've had a little break. Now, before we get started, I would absolutely love to invite you to join one of the most supportive online acting groups on socials, the Unstoppable Actors group. Every single day, we're in there helping each other, supporting each other as we work towards our dreams of becoming an unstoppable actor. Now, you can come and play in this group and receive free daily coaching from myself by hitting this link, bit.ly/unstoppable actors, all in lowercase, or by clicking the link below this podcast. Come and join us. I would absolutely love to see you there, because no matter what stage you're at, an acting career is doable. Are you ready to dive in and make this happen? I can't wait. Let's get started. So before we dive in, I have to give a massive shout out to Kinga. Kinga tuned in to episode 6, How to Take Your Acting Performances and Dreams to the Next Stage. And she got in touch with me and she said, "Hey Louise, I just listened to your podcast and I have to say I really enjoyed it. All the advice that you gave us on one hand is something that we hear all the time, but on the other hand, I love that you gave the examples on how we can apply those rules on a daily basis." Thank you so much, Kinga, for getting in touch to let me know how much you enjoyed that episode. It really means the world to know that these podcasts are helping people like yourselves to really take those next steps forward and, become an unstoppable actor, which is what these podcasts are all about. So if you enjoyed today's episode, leave me a comment and I could be giving you a shout out in the next episode. Let's dive in then. Let's get started. So we're going to be pulling apart and talking about all things getting started with an acting career if you've got very little experience or zero experience, and what you need to do if you were involved in acting a few years ago but then took a big break and you've decided, do you know what, I can't stop thinking about it, I'm really, really passionate about it, I need to return. And you're just like, whoa, I don't know what the hell to do. Or if you've just been a little bit inconsistent with your acting dreams and, your day job has taken over, I have got you covered on all fronts. So let's start with the first thing then that always crops up. Am I good enough? I wonder if I can actually make this happen, or am I just being silly? Let me tell you, these worries are completely normal. They are so bloody normal. So whenever you start thinking these worries, am I good enough? Oh, I don't really know if I've got what it takes. Can I actually make this happen, or am I just being silly? I just want you in your head to say stop. And then I want you to start thinking about all of the possibilities. What if an acting career happens? What if I am good enough? What if people really bloody enjoy my performances? And I want you to allow yourself to daydream and imagine, because when you do that, you are going to trigger some really positive feelings in your body. And we want you to be feeling positive because you're brave and courageous for pursuing an acting career. And yes, it can happen. I say it all the time, but an acting career is doable. I don't want you to be listening to those people who tell you that, oh, it's just a pipe dream. You need to think about plan B, because if you do listen to them, eventually you'll take on their fears and they will become your own fears, and then you'll just do nothing with your dreams. And that's just going to make you feel worse, and we definitely don't want that. So let's knock that one on the head before we even get started. Now, the other thing that I am often asked over and over and over again when people are just getting started with their acting dreams or returning to the acting industry is, tell me how I get an agent. What do I need to do? Where do I need to look for agents? Oh, blah, 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 blah. And they just think solely about an agent. And whilst that is important, and at some point you are definitely going to need an agent, let's just park that to one side for now. Before you do anything, you need to start thinking about your skills and your talent. That's the first thing. You have got to put in the groundwork that will lead you towards an agency. So I think that sometimes comes from people wanting to rush because they want to prove to those people who are saying an acting career is not a proper career. And, by getting an agency, you say, hey, see, it can work out. But, we don't want to rush. We want to get good grounding first, because what I want for you is for you to have a long and successful career. I don't want you to sell yourself short. And if you're just diving in trying to get an agency before you've done anything else, you kind of will be selling yourself short, and you will be setting yourself up for disappointment, and you'll hear a lot of no's. And then what will happen is those worries and those fears that you're currently experiencing or you have experienced, like, am I good enough? Am I just being silly? They will come to the forefront of everything, and you will believe them, and you will more than likely quit without actually realizing what your true potential could have been. So let's just forget about the agency for now. So I want to take you back to the time when I was 14 years old. I was sat in the cinema for the 5th time watching Titanic, and all of a sudden I got this really bizarre feeling. It was so weird. It just told me that I need to follow acting and that acting was going to be my career. I was like, what? What the hell? I really, really, really hated acting. Really hated it, because it used to make me feel really embarrassed, and I'd go bright red and look like a beetroot, and it was just cringy for everybody to see me just standing in the middle of a drama class as a terrified little person going, oh, please, please, please don't put me through this anymore. In fact, it was actually torturous. So it was weird getting this feeling, but I decided to follow it anyway. And what I decided to do is take some acting classes. And this is the first thing that you are going to need to do. You are going to need to take acting classes, because when we look at all these actors at the top of the game who are commercially successful, and what I mean by that is they're earning a living from acting and that's their main job, the one thing they all have in common is that they are highly skilled. They are talented. I know there's going to be a few that have slipped through the net that are not that talented, but the majority of them are. They make us believe that they are that character. We completely forget that it's an actor playing this role. We are so involved in that character's journey. So you have got to follow in their footsteps, and you have got to get your skills up to a really good level, because that is going to help you have confidence. And actually, when you start to invest in acting classes and invest in improving your skills, you start to feel more invested in your acting career and your acting dreams as a whole. So that's what you've got to do. So to go back to this story then, I decided to take acting classes. And let me tell you, just because I'd had that feeling that acting was going to be my career didn't mean that the fear of standing up in front of people disappeared, because it bloody well didn't. I can remember as clear as day walking to this acting class and my heart pounding so hard in my chest, I literally thought it was going to rip out and meet me on the pavement. That's how loud it was, and that's how terrified I was. And even when I got into the acting class, let me tell you, I did not even get up in front of anybody and present any scene work or do any exercises for a long, long time. I still used to sit at the back of that class, really scared that I was going to make a fool out of myself, really embarrassed, worried about everything that could go wrong. And when I went to a Q&A with Al Pacino about 6 years ago, he said he did exactly the same thing. He said that in his first acting class, he sat there at the back, absolutely terrified, and it took him months before he got up and did anything. So if that's how you're feeling, we all feel like that. I just want to normalise that for you and let you know that you're not weird. There's nothing wrong with you. It is completely normal to feel absolutely terrified in an acting class, especially if you are brand new to acting or have very little experience or you're just returning again. So it's normal. Don't worry about that. But you do need to get to the acting classes. And let me tell you why. Not only are you going to start to learn how to act and about the craft of acting, and obviously, you're going to be able to improve your acting skills, Because like Robert De Niro said, you don't just win roles, you've got to earn the right to play the role. And that starts with you showing that you respect yourself and you respect productions and you respect casting directors and agents by investing in yourself firstly and putting yourself in those acting classes. But you will also start to build friendships with other people who are also pursuing a career like yourself in acting. And that's going to make you feel good, because so many of us do hear from people like, acting's not a proper job, you want to think about a plan B, what do you want to be an actor for, you'll never make it. And if we keep surrounding ourselves with those people who project those thoughts onto us, eventually we will take on their fears and their beliefs as our own, and then you literally won't get anywhere with your acting dreams. And that's not what I want for you. I really want you to surround yourself with inspiring, uplifting, positive people who are like-minded and on a similar journey, because that will make you feel good in yourself and that will help you build your confidence in this career that a lot of people don't think is a conventional career, which, let's be honest, it's not, but we do want you to feel confident in yourself. So you'll be meeting other people, and when you meet other people, they will also have information about the acting industry that you can pull from them and you can get from them, which will give you more knowledge, and that will help you with your acting dreams. And then if you've got an acting coach who's got experience in the industry and has acted themselves in the industry and has coached actors for many years, you will also be getting the best advice from them as well. So it's absolutely imperative that you are getting yourself to acting classes and that you are really committed to improving your skills. Because if you think about it, there are absolutely loads of people who audition for the same role, and you've got to be able to do something in that audition that stands out and captures that casting director or that director and shows them that you are worth putting in their production. So by investing in acting classes, you're giving yourself a better chance of actually getting cast in things when the time comes for you to start auditioning. Now you might think, where do I even find acting classes? Well, there's a few ways you can do it. You could potentially ask people for recommendations if you know anybody who's been to any acting classes. If you don't, you could have a look on Google, start looking around the different websites, looking at the reviews and the testimonials and getting a feel for the different acting classes out there and seeing which ones resonate and connect with you. Or if you just wanted to test the waters, you could come into our Unstoppable Actors group. I gave you the link at the beginning of the podcast and it's also underneath this episode. I deliver free method acting classes every single week. So you could come in there, start testing the waters, get a feel for myself, see whether you like my style of coaching and see whether you learn anything, and then start taking it from there. So there's a few different options for you. So we've covered acting classes, and we've already said that once you have been going to them for a while, that you're going to start feeling a little bit more confident in your skills, and eventually you'll start to feel ready to take the next steps. So what are these next steps then? Well, you need to get yourself some decent headshots, and a headshot is literally a picture of your head. It's what casting directors are using to decide whether they're going to call you into the audition room or not. Now, I'm not going to go into tons of detail about headshots in this episode because I've already covered it in a previous episode. I interviewed the amazing Kate McDonald from Kate McDonald Photography, and we have a really good in-depth discussion about all things headshots and what you need to do to be able to capture the best headshot to get called into the casting room. So if you want to find out more about headshots, once you've listened to this episode, go onto our website, www.standbymethod.com, and type in the search bar headshots, and you will see the podcast for that episode come up, and then you could have a little listen to that as well. And she gives away so much information. It's absolutely amazing. So once you've got your headshots, you are going to be feeling so bloody excited and you're going to be a keen bean. You are going to want to get yourself out there. So the next stage after getting your headshots is to start having a look around some casting profiles. Now, depending where you are in the world, there's going to be casting profiles that have got more popularity in your country. The ones that I'm going to share with you are some are popular in the States, but mainly in the UK. But again, you could always type into Google casting websites or casting profiles or casting sites, and the ones that are relevant to your country will start to come up. But in the UK, we've got something called Star Now, we've got Mandy, we've got Backstage, and then there's also Spotlight, but that's going to be a little bit further down the line if you haven't got the required credits to get onto Spotlight. So you might want to have a little look at Spotlight, see what that's all about, and then put that as a goal to be achieving a little bit further down the line to get your membership on Spotlight. But for now, you could certainly be looking at Backstage, Star Now, Mandy, and having a little look around these casting profiles and seeing what they require from you to be able to set up a profile, because that's going to be where you are going to first start applying for acting jobs and where you will more than likely start getting your first set of acting jobs. Now, you do want to make sure you've got your headshots firstly before you start setting anything up, but you also want to have a look into the prices as well, because they've all got varying prices and you need to work out what's going to be suitable for you right now with the budget that you've currently got and what you can afford. So have a little look around them all. Once you're on one of those casting sites, you're then going to have to set up a profile, and you are then going to need to start building up what we call credits. And credits are literally just productions you have been in, and you name them on your actor's CV, which is essentially what a casting website is. It's just an actor's CV. What I would recommend is starting off applying for student films, because student films are easier to get cast in. I'm not going to beat around the bush. They are. But what's also good about student films is, yeah, you might not be happy with the work afterwards, or because the students are learning, maybe there'll be some mistakes and errors in the films, which, to be honest, doesn't really matter, because this is a non-pressured environment in which you can start to learn how a film set works, and you can also start to put to test what you've been learning in your acting classes and figure out whether you can hold your own or not on a film set with the characters. So I would always encourage you to just test yourself out in some student films, because it is the easiest way to start building up footage, but it's also the best way to not put pressure on yourself, because everybody is learning. You're learning about the technicalities of working on a film set. The students are learning, they're learning about, how to apply the technicalities of what they've been learning at uni, but they're also learning how to work with actors as well. So it's just a great all-round learning experience. And you know what? If the film turns out crap, it doesn't matter. You don't have to put it anywhere. You don't have to put it on your casting websites. You don't even have to tell anybody about it, and you can just put it in the bank as a learning experience. So that's what I would say. And then eventually, when you start getting more confident, you will start applying for more castings. So independent films would be the next stage. And then you'll start building what's called a show reel. Now, a show reel traditionally is about 3 minutes long, and it's your best footage. The footage of your acting work on different productions that shows the types of characters that you've played and shows your acting skills, which takes me back to the first point of going to acting classes and making sure your acting skills are shit hot, because your show reel is something that you're going to sell yourself with. So when you start applying for bigger productions, for roles in bigger productions, like more independent films, people are going to want to see some footage from you, and you want to feel confident sharing your work. And if you're not feeling confident and your work's not that great, then really you ought to be getting to some acting classes, because it is a marketing tool, your show reel. So I said traditionally it's around 3 minutes long. I think it should be shorter than that, in all honesty. I really think you should be leaving the people watching your show reel wanting more. I advise my students a minute maximum of your best work that shows what your casting type is, what your skills are, and the types of characters you've been playing, which is essentially your casting type. But yeah, it's essentially your shop window, and people will decide from your show reel whether they think you'll look right for the role that they're casting, whether they think you've got the skills to be able to play the character in their production. So that's the next stage, would be getting a show reel. Then, once you've got some decent headshots, you've got some decent footage on your show reel, you're feeling confident about it, you've been improving your skills at acting classes, and you're starting to feel confident now, that's when you would then potentially want to start approaching agencies. But you want to do your research again. What exactly is an agent looking for? What do they require from you before you even bother applying to them? Because you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to be wasting your time applying to every and any agency if you are not meeting the requirements of what they're after to get called into a meeting for them. So again, you might think, where can I even find out about agencies? Well, you could come and join our Unstoppable Actors group, and you could write a post in there asking if anybody has any recommendations for agencies to get started with. You could start looking on Google, or you could start asking people in your acting classes if they've got any recommendations or if they know of any good agents to potentially apply to get started with. So there's always ways around this. One thing I should share with you is that you are going to hear no a hell of a lot. Rejection does not mean that you should stop pursuing your acting dreams. Rejection does not mean you are not good enough. It just means you need to take a look objectively at what's not working and what needs improving, and you need to see it as a learning experience rather than getting subjectively caught up and thinking, I'm not good enough, it's never going to happen, I'll never make it, I'm not castable, nobody wants me in their productions or on their agencies. Start thinking objectively, why is this now happening? What could I learn from this experience? How could I improve and move forward? And I wanted to throw that in there because I think sometimes we can be a little bit naive, unintentionally naive, and not realise just how many no's there are in this industry. Even our acting students at Standby Method Acting Studio, who have got really good agencies, who have done TV work, who have done paid theatre work, and, have really started getting momentum behind their acting dreams, still hear no thousands upon thousands of times. The thing that I think is, if you're not hearing no enough, you're not putting yourself out there enough. So let's just get on board with this no and just accept that it is going to be a normal part of pursuing your acting dreams until your profile is big enough that everybody is then begging for you to be in their productions, which you can get to that place if you'll only be consistent and put the groundwork in, which I've shared with you in this podcast. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear whether this has helped you or not. And if you've got any more questions, you can always get in touch with me. Come and join our Unstoppable Actors group. The link is underneath this podcast. Once you're in there, you can ask me as many questions as you want. I'm in there every single day coaching actors and aspiring actors to help them become an unstoppable actor, because an acting career is 1,000% doable. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It's been amazing. And I hope you are not feeling overwhelmed by the information that I've given you. But if you are, it's completely normal to feel a little bit overwhelmed. Just choose one thing off the list that I've given you to get started with. Go and make your dreams happen, because you absolutely bloody well can. I believe in you. I have absolutely loved hanging out with you, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode of Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, aspiring actors. Now, if you did, I'd really love you to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and leave a review. And if you would like weekly injections of inspiration, you'd like mini method acting challenges to keep you making progress with your dreams, come and join the most supportive acting community online by clicking the link in the notes to help you become an unstoppable actor.